Hi, I'm Janice with Why Not with Janice, and I'm Janice, your host. Our goal here is to help others to reach their goals. Tonight I have a great guest for you. Recently I just finished publishing my book, and I had to get a book publisher. And with getting the book publisher and learning how to either self-publish or hire someone or find help, I was totally confused, pulling my hair out literally. I had no clue what to do. And just said a little prayer like, help me, and pop! Looked in the paper, did a Google, telephone book, and found the perfect one. It was like the person, the ad just lit up. So it was just perfect. I have that person in our studio tonight to talk about writing the book. Because there's a lot of people want to write a book, they think about it, they start writing, but they never put it together. I have a guest here that's going to talk to us about putting a book together, what we need to do, how to do it, how do we get help. Perfect, and answer hopefully most of our questions. Hi, today, my guest, Mr. Benny Williams. Thank you very much for coming for the Why Not Show.
Yes, thanks for having me, Janice.
Hi. Yeah, you were absolutely God sent to help me with my book, and you know, as everyone that helps me out here in the show knows, I'm a procrastinator in the last minute, that I wind up calling you at the last final hour to get my book published.
Yes.
So, book publishing, I found it's not easy. Why did you even get into book publishing? Before we get into the why you want to write, just tell me briefly, why did you get into book publishing and printing?
Well, before getting into publishing, I was always into the printing business. You know, I printed little things like business cards, flyers, and stuff like that. Then I had a very close friend of mine who wanted to write a book, and she actually wrote the book and said, "Hey, can you print this for me?"
Oh, okay.
So printing a book takes specialized equipment. I had to have the equipment to get it done. I didn't have at the time that she asked, but to make this story short, I was able to print her book. And when I printed her book, other people saw the work, and then they started coming to me with raw manuscripts saying, "Hey, can you print this book for me?" And I said, "Wait, you need a publisher." So then I had to go through all the steps of publishing the book to the end, you know, from printing, editing, and all the way to distribution. And then when I did that for a few people, more came, and then that was that was the birth of BW Publishing. And so I got full-fledged into the publishing business, and I've written a few books myself.
Oh, wow.
And I've been in this since 2005, and it's been a very satisfying business for me.
That was going to be my next question. So you've been doing this for 2005, 14 years.
Yes.
Congrats,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
And you even wrote some of your own.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that must have been great. You did not think about that, having to get into the publishing business. A friend just came to you, can you publish this book? And I'm sure they were grateful for that, and great career for you.
Right, it was a great career for me, and I learned a lot, you know, in the 14 years, and you know, I'm very proud of the business. I'm very satisfied with publishing other books. You know, it's a very, it gives you a sense of satisfaction when someone comes to you with a raw dream, and you can shape it into something that they'll be proud of. That's the most satisfying. I do that again and again and again. I have a young lady who book I'm publishing now. She's doing a children's book. Okay. And the last time she said in my office, she said, "You're making this so easy. You're making it so easy. Thank you." You know, so that it's really gratifying to hear stuff like that, that I can help someone take their raw work and get it to a published book.
Right. Because you really don't know. When I was writing my book, I'm like, okay, I was just expecting some magic wand to come and bing, you know, it's all published and the cover was all great and everything else. And you told me things that I had no clue about. So what to do with the book that I had really no clue about.
Right.
So if someone has this book idea that they want, what's the first step they should do?
Well, if they only have an idea, they first have to put the idea on paper or into the computer.
Okay.
You know, regardless of where they're at with the idea, you have to have some raw material to start with.
Okay.
You know, just the idea, the publisher can't do anything with an idea unless he sits down and transcribe your idea for you, which is going to cost you a lot of money.
Oh,
So the
okay.
first thing is to put the idea onto a computer or on paper. Either one do just fine.
Okay.
However, there are some differences depending on what type of book that you're publishing, whether you're publishing, writing, whether you're writing a Christian book,
Okay.
whether you're writing nonfiction, fiction, life story or something like that. But there are some commonalities.
Okay.
And
Because you do a lot of Christian books.
yes, about
Okay.
85% of the
Okay.
people I publish are Christian and inspirational,
Okay.
and that's been really, really satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm tell you why. The best writers that I found are people who read a lot,
Okay. Right.
and Christians seem to read the Bible a lot. And so
Right.
if they write a book based on the Bible, you know,
And they get inspiration from
right, to get inspiration from it, you know. So, like I said, one of the commonalities is read, you know, because
Read.
some of the better writers are the people who have read, are well read.
Right,
I mean, I'm not
okay.
saying the people who are not well read can't write a book, but some of the easiest manuscript for a publisher to deal with is someone to kind of understand the genre that they're writing in. If someone
Right.
writes fiction, they should have read some fiction or read
Right,
some fiction.
right.
You know, so I would advise anybody who's interested in writing a book, go to a bookstore and browse in the section of the type of book that you want to write.
Okay.
Because there's a possibility someone already wrote a book similar to
Similar to
yours.
yours,
You know,
right.
just read through it, see how they formatted things and how the chapters are lined up. You know, so there's a lot of things that you can get from what someone else have already done.
Oh,
You
that
know,
makes sense.
there's an old saying that says, learn from your mistakes, but I don't believe that. I believe,
And don't reinvent the wheel? Or
right, right. I don't believe you should learn from your mistakes. You can
Right.
learn from someone else's mistakes.
someone else's
You know, so
mistake.
the person that
Right.
wrote the book, he or she has already made
Made
a lot
those
of mistakes.
mistakes,
So
right.
just grab their finished work, read through it, not copy it, but you can understand those type of books that you're writing.
Right, like a lot of mystery books, you need to know how
Right.
that genre is, or even like detective stories, or if there's a hero in a detective or action, you know, you need to know things about, I hate to say it, but like weapons, or
Right.
if it's a cop drama, you need to know the lingo of a cop. You know?
Exactly,
So and just
exactly.
reading how that flows is great. You need that. You're right.
And it'll make it very easy for you when you, because you have your idea. All you have to do is kind of fit your idea into this template, you know, based on the different books that you've read, and you can kind of understand how to make it flow easy for the reader.
Because
Because
some of the books you read kind of becomes like your mentors, those authors in a
right,
sense.
exactly, exactly. Because in this world of Facebook and phones, you know, people put your book down in a minute if if it isn't if it isn't flowing right, you know, and you
Right,
want
right.
people to read,
Right.
you want to capture them and keep them interested.
Right.
Because in this world, everybody wants things fast, you know.
Fast,
You know,
yes,
they want to
right.
watch like a 1 minute video, 30-second video, or something like that. So it takes a
Have
but
that 200 book, unless you're, you know, Harry Potter's, you know, author, then, you know.
But there are a lot of still a lot of readers out here. You know, a lot of people saying that the printed word is dead and stuff like that. But that's not true. It's really making a comeback because ebooks isn't outselling the printed books anymore like it did when it first came. It was kind of like a fad. Well, I
Right.
won't say it's a fad, but it's not as strong as it was when it first came out. I'm talking about ebooks.
Yeah, I think
You
with
know.
the ebooks, people just like the electronic and it was more new, you know, compared to, it's something when you're holding that book. I just
Right.
haven't got a hold of that, flipping the tablet yet, you know.
Right. Right. So, yeah. So there's some commonalities. One thing is to read, and when you're writing when you have your idea,
Okay.
you know, if you don't have your idea in the computer or on paper, what I do is write an outline. Now, outline could just mean write some points down that you want to say. It doesn't
Okay.
have to be Roman numeral 1, then A, like a formal outline. Just
Okay.
write the points down that you want to talk about. That, in and of itself, is getting your ideas on paper. And then
Okay.
you can transform it into Microsoft Word or any other program you have on your computer, and that'll make it easier. Once you get it on paper, and don't worry about being perfect. Once you get it on paper, then you can look at what you have and reformat it.
Okay.
You know, I always say to new author, you know, write your manuscript first, then write it right the second time.
Okay.
Always write it more than once. Don't bring the raw
Really?
don't bring the raw material to a publisher,
Okay.
because when you leave, he's probably going to be pulling his hair out.
Okay.
So,
So do some
right.
people ask you just bring the raw materials, like, here, this 10-page or,
Yeah,
stack of
yeah. I mean,
pages I've had.
I-
Here, take it.
yeah, but it depends on the person. I've had people who've written books, have wrote their manuscript rather, maybe 15 years ago, and just pull it out. It'd be in an old notebook, and they bring it and say, "Hey, can you do something with this?" Yes, I can, but it'd be better
So
if you
you-
type it in the computer. Otherwise, you'll be, it'll be costly.
So you as a publisher, you're actually doing a lot more. If someone's bringing you, here's a stack of papers, good luck, you're actually going through almost their ideas and formulating it for them.
Yes.
Oh, wow, that's a
Yes.
lot more.
And then sometimes you have to formulate the chapters. You need to say this first. You need to say this second. So it has to be something readable.
Okay.
I mean, what they're putting down is just their thoughts. But a printed book is really kind of like your thought focused, and put it in a way that someone else can read it and understand what you're doing. And
Do
so-
most people come to you like that versus, I know when I came to you, I already kind of had it done for that part, or at least I was done at that part.
When I first started, most people did come, but not anymore.
Not anymore.
Most people have access to Microsoft Word and a computer or a tablet or something like that. So it's still a little raw, but not as raw as handing a bunch of papers. Normally I would say, hey, do you have it in Microsoft Word? Is it in the computer? Yeah. Can you email it to me, or can you print it and bring it in?
But
So,
most people don't give you the final copy?
well, their final copy, what they believe is final.
Oh.
Yeah, what they believe is final. Yes, they
Okay.
normally bring me that. But if you only wrote it one time, it's probably not at a point where you want to give it to someone else.
Okay.
I had
I made that mistake.
I had a lady that I'm working with now, and of course I can't say any names or title of her book right now, but I have to kind of focus her
Okay.
on how to get this book readable.
Okay.
And one thing that you must think of that's also important is that who is your audience? Who
Right,
are you
who's
trying to
your
reach?
audience?
What's your age group you're trying to
Okay.
reach? And if
Okay.
you know that, then you can communicate with that age group through your writing.
Okay.
If you're writing for children, you can't use these huge words. You can't use college words, because they,
Right.
you have to use things like a lot of colors and stuff like that.
Okay.
If you're writing for women 18 to 25, there's a certain way you have to write it.
Okay.
If you're writing for someone 60, 70 years old, certain way you have to write it. So one of the things of being successful with your book is to identify your audience.
Identify your audience.
Who you think is going to buy this book.
Okay.
Who's your market?
Okay.
And your market is usually someone who wants your book and also have the ability to purchase your book.
Okay.
Those two things. You have to
Right.
want your book and have the ability to purchase your book. Otherwise, they're not your market.
Right. They're not
you
your
know.
market. So we
Right.
think of get the stuff written down,
Mm-hmm.
write it a few times,
Right.
and also think of what genre we're going to be with, and also what's the market, what age group we're looking at,
Right.
what sex, if they're females from males, if they're married couples, what group we're actually targeting.
Right. And you will know that if you can think of why you're writing your book.
Okay.
If you understand why you're writing your book, you'll understand who would want to read it.
Right.
That's very simple. And most people say, well, I just have this idea. Okay, well, what's the purpose of it? Why are you writing
What's the
it?
purpose of it?
There's a
Okay.
purpose. People just don't write to write.
Right.
Any book you pick up, the author is trying to bring you over to his point of view.
Right.
He has an
His
objective.
Okay.
He has an objective. He has a point of view that he's trying to convince you.
Okay.
Either way it goes. So if you understand that, you know who your market is.
Right. Okay.
You know.
So then what's the next step? Say now, so I guess you would edit it and review it and give a finalized copy to them to approve it.
Right.
So you do
Exactly.
the proof checking and reading
The-
and
the-
spell checker,
The copy editing.
the copy editing.
The
Okay.
grammar, of course, the spell checking,
Right.
make sure that it flows properly, like what's supposed to be in the introduction is in the introduction, what's supposed to be in the conclusion is there, and what's supposed to be in the middle chapters is there. And then once we do that, excuse me, we give it to the author.
Okay.
The author approves it or disapproves it, and then we sit and talk about it until it's something that we both feel is marketable and sellable, and something that he or she, the author, I mean, can be proud of. You know, because that's the ultimate goal is to make the author look good. You know, so yeah, that's the ultimate goal of publishing the book, is to give the author what she needs or what he needs
Okay.
to have a marketable product.
Oh, okay. So we got that. The next step is, okay, we got everything is printed the way we want to print it. At least the words are there. Next step, I guess, would be possibly the cover. Do you help people with cover? Because I know when I did my cover, I had no clue what to do.
Right.
I'm like,
Well, we
oh, I couldn't think
do.
of
Right.
that.
Well, your cover isn't that bad, but at BW Publishing, we do the full gamut. You know, like I said, if someone came in with a bunch of notebooks, we can take it from the beginning all the way to the end, where we design the cover, we do the layout, we do the copy editing, we do the proofreading, we do the whole 9 yards. We even do the printing. We can print the book for them.
So people shouldn't, I mean, I know there's software out there too. Should people like get software for this, or just is it better for us let professionals handle it versus us do it? Because I know a lot of people want to self-publish.
Right.
I mean, they still need the publishers. We don't have a big printer at home,
Right.
but like the cover design, that's something more that most people don't know how to do.
Right.
I mean, I can draw stick people. So is that something you recommend we buy software, or just basic Microsoft Word?
I
type?
recommend just type it into Microsoft Word and let the publisher do their thing rather, based on your desires. You know, because the publisher normally have photographers, they normally have artists, they normally have designers, graphic designers who already understand. And all that person have to do is read your book and see your vision, understand your vision, and then graphic designers are very good with that. Once they know your vision, they'll put it together. And at BW Publishing, we put as many covers together as you need to be satisfied.
Okay.
You know, I remember we published a book and we designed maybe 30 covers for a lady before she decided to say,
Wow.
that's it.
Wow.
You know, 30 different covers. And, you know, we put them on the wall
Right.
and she looked at all of them and said, that's the one I want.
Well, I know for the cover for mine, I just kind of went with my logo.
Yeah.
Here, I want to show the book then. I got it published with BW Publishing, but I wanted the cover to match my shirt. And one of the reasons why I was telling people that I wanted you on the air to show about publishing a book, I had no clue what to do. I couldn't make a fancy covering, so I figured, use my logo.
Right.
Okay. I just got this published recently by BW Publishing. I appreciate it. Okay. Here, hold it back. Why not? But it was so difficult for me, things I didn't know. I didn't know about the binder on the side. I didn't know about, I need to get the ISBN number. And a lot of people want to publish their books, but it's hard publishing your books self-published because you don't know what to do.
Well, you were easy. You were easy because you came in with your cover already designed, your back cover already designed. You did a pretty good job.
Thank
so
you.
It wasn't that difficult for us to finish the book for you. So I really appreciate that. So it wasn't bad. But like I said, some people don't have that talent, don't have that skills, don't have that ingenuity to go out and get what they need, or maybe they just don't have the time,
Right.
you know, to do it. And they bring it to us, and then we polish it up for them and give it to them.
Okay. Yeah, well,
No.
so now that we did that, you've proofread it, to get it back to the people, you do the cover. Now, what about even children's books? Do you help people find illustrators? Because even that's hard. I want to do a children's book, and I have no clue, you know, where to find someone besides doing stick drawing myself.
Yes. Like I said, we're in the middle of doing a children's book now. And it's beautifully illustrated, you know, and we're working with the author to make sure it's exactly what she wants. Most children's books is not really laden with a lot of type. You know, more illustration, bold color, because that's what children want. They want bold color and illustration and just a little type. You know, maybe they can read it themselves or their parent can read it to them.
Okay.
So, no, it's always fun to do children's book. I really like, because, you know, I like children and I like a lot of colors. I'm a kid
Right.
myself, I guess. You know, so
Right.
So yes, we have illustrators that can help illustrate your book, you know, and get it done. And most children's books are hardcover, although you can do some soft cover too.
Okay.
We offer both.
Okay.
You know, so when we do a children's book, we offer a soft cover version and a hardcover version as well.
Now, do you get people like even old and young? I know that everyone has a book in them. I do believe that. Everyone has a story they want to tell. They
Yes.
want to write a book, you know, and old and young. Like, what's probably your oldest person, age-wise, you think that's actually written a book with you?
The oldest person that's written a book with me is deceased now.
Oh, well, what age were
But that's
they? when-
old.
Yeah, that is old now.
But no, I think when she came to me, she was in her 80s.
Okay. Wow. I wasn't expecting no.
She was in her 80s. Remember I told you that some people have written books long time
Right.
ago and decide, okay, I should get this book published.
It's one of those things
and
people
one
want
of
to
those
do.
things. Yes, yes. So, you know, all ages, you know.
Okay.
I've published books for a lot of elderly people, a lot of people of different professions, like pastors and mathematicians and counselors, you
Okay.
know.
Now,
Go
what do
ahead.
you tell people after the book's printed?
hmm
How do you tell them what to do to get it to be sold, like media, PR? How should they even go about trying to sell the book? You did the wonderful job publishing it, printing it, you got it edited, it looks perfect, now it's sitting there.
Right.
How do people sell their books after they finally got the nerve and the courage to actually write
Now
it?
that's really the hard part. Oftentimes we use print-on-demand model,
Oh, okay.
meaning when we publish the book, we don't print hundreds of copies so they can be sitting around.
That's good.
We normally throw like a book release party, and at that book
Oh.
release event, party or event, whatever way the author want to do it, we may print 100, 200 copies that sells there to kind of be the release of the book. Then at that time, we put it in all the different outlets like bookstores, Amazon.com, and it's Barnes and Nobles, I believe. I can't
Yeah,
remember
Barnes
the
and
name.
Nobles.
Barnes and Nobles and the different outlets and sell it. But the author, along with us, have to partner with us to do some marketing.
Okay.
We have to push the book.
Get a
And we have to-
Facebook page.
And we have to write Facebook page. Get your own
Website.
website. Put it on our website. You know.
Blogs.
Right. Exactly. You have to
Okay.
be a person. If you're not a people person, then your book is not really gonna.
Ooh,
I don't think it's gonna
Okay.
go for it. You have to be a talker.
you got to be a talker.
You have to be a salesman. You have to be a marketer.
Right.
You have to be not worried about getting into someone's face. And then normally I would know that at the book release party.
Oh, okay.
Because
okay.
if the person can get up and talk to everybody about their book and be excited about their book,
Okay.
then I know, okay, this person's going to do good because they're really pushing the book. So you have to. It's all about the book is a reflection of the author.
Okay.
You know, so it has to be marketed.
Right.
It has to be marketed in order for the book to sell. Because if it just came out, no one knows about it.
No one knows about it. So you
You
have to
know.
go out there, go to the libraries, go to
Yeah.
those local library type functions.
Right, and we
talk
can
to
help with that.
people.
Yes.
And get it out. Facebook page, media pages, websites, blog, and especially if you're doing nonfiction or you do a lot of Christian books.
Yes.
If you're a pastor, then you definitely need to be into your books, the sense that that is what your belief is, and you have to be
Yeah.
strongly. Your book, like you said, is you.
Yes.
So you have to come across that way.
Well, I found that pastors are really some of the easiest authors to work with.
Really?
Yes, I found that pastors. There's several reasons why. First of all, if they're pastors, they have a captured audience.
That's true.
You
That's
know,
true.
so their book signing, their book event is normally overflowing.
Oh, really?
You know, because they have the captured audience, they have the captured audience family, they have the pastor friends and other churches.
Okay.
So they normally have a pretty full book release party.
Okay.
And then they don't have a problem talking.
Okay.
They talk every Sunday.
Okay.
You know, so they'll get up there and they'll really push their book and they'll tell you why you should get their book and how special the book is. And they'll push it at other churches, other events. So they're always on the talking circuit. So they're always pushing their book. That's why I said they're the easiest to deal with. Yeah.
Okay.
Haven't
Do
had
you
much
help
problems
people
with
and like coach them also on writing their books, or when they just bring you your manual, that's when you start and you tell them this is our next step and that step and that step,
Well,
and walk them through it?
often, often I meet potential authors and they don't have their manuscript with them. I say, come to my office and talk. Let's talk about the book. And then that's when I ask them, you know, what is your book about? You know, how do you feel about the book? And you know, give me some insight of the book and who you're trying to reach. And at that time, I kind of coach them.
Okay.
You know, most people are very excited about their book, about their work. You know, and that gets me excited.
Right.
You know, I've never had an author just sit there and like, well, I really don't want to do this. You know, you know,
Then why are you here?
Right. So most people are very excited about the book,
Okay.
and even if they're going in the wrong direction, what I may perceive as the wrong direction, I'll try to guide them to
Okay.
where the book will sell better. You know, and they'll be satisfied with it,
Okay.
because you don't want to publish a book and you not sell one copy.
Right.
Never happened with me, but I've heard that happen to people. Not
Yeah,
sell one copy.
Okay.
You know?
Which is nice that you do the print on demand, that it's a small set of books, 25, 50, 100,
Right.
versus I've heard of people that have bought like 5,000 to get it lower.
Right.
And it's like, you know, pricing lower, or they just think, okay, I need that many, I'm going to sell that many. Now you're stuck with 5,000 books in their garage.
Right.
So that's great. I love we talked, and you even do every last step, like the ISBN numbers we need to get, the
Yes.
copyrightists. You take care
Yeah.
of all this. So one stop
ISBN.
helping people.
Exactly. ISBN number, the barcode,
Okay.
the copyrighting, the Library of Congress control number. You know, all the things that are necessary to have the book in different outlets.
Okay.
We can take care of that right in house at BW Publishing.
Well, we're
Yes.
almost done with that. Yep. And your website is bwpublishing.com.
Yes.
Mr. Benny Williams. If you can at least give us really quick, just some advice to people if they want to write their books, what do you have to say to them?
Get started, get in the computer, and find a publisher.
Find a publisher. Okay. And they can bring that stack of papers that they've had hidden in that drawer under the bed to you.
They can bring it to me.
Or anything, just make sure it's typed and start writing. That's the main thing. You want a book, you got to start writing.
You got to start writing. You have to start reading.
Start writing and start reading. I did love that point.
Yes.
You got to read, because those people, for your genre, is almost like mentors for you in teaching.
Right.
And you can also go to writers groups, things like that,
Yes.
and learn how to write or take a writer's class.
Yes.
Okay. Well, if you need further information, Benny Williams with bwpublishing.com. We
Yes.
showed his email address and his website. Contact him if you're interested in writing a book. I really want to inspire people and tell people, that's why I did this show on publishing, that I want people to write their book. I was inspired to write my book, and I was very happy I was able to find Benny at the last minute, because I was really, didn't know what to do at the last moment. I needed your help.
Yeah.
I want to thank the wonderful people that helped me out on my show. My technical director, Mike Mickruck. He has his own show, Larry and Mike, Comcast. Please watch us on Comcast, Wednesday nights, 6:30. You can find us on YouTube and Facebook. I want to thank my floor director, Ed Muller. Myler. He has his own show. I'm also Lillian Flowers. Thank you very much. Please come in and watch our show. Email us. You can see us on YouTube and Facebook. And write that book. This is Janice with Why and Why Not with Janice. Have a nice evening.